Our mission is to redefine macho. We are just redefining macho. Welcome back to Men of Yoga Off the Mat. This is our third season. We are kicking things off with a huge announcement. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Men of Yoga Season 3. Yay!
Yay!
We are back, folks.
Welcome us back.
That's right.
Back for more.
Back
2025.
2025. Not only are we back with Season 3, but we're also celebrating 4 years of Men of Yoga. Woo!
4 years. Can you believe that it's been 4 years already?
I can't. I can't.
This was our very special pandemic project.
It sure is.
Yeah, when our yoga studio closed and all the classes moved online, we were like, what are we going to do now?
Yeah. How am I going to meet people?
Right? How are we going to? We dreamed of having an online space for men to
We
connect.
sure, we sure did.
And look at us now.
Look at us now. I don't know if our people know this in general, but we don't have an official quote unquote date of like when we launched, because it was just one of those passion projects that we thought we'd try out. We didn't know what we were doing.
Sure, it
But
was definitely 2021.
yes, 2021, and I took it upon myself last couple of years to make February the month that we're going to celebrate the anniversary. So happy 4 years, Men of Yoga. We're still here, man.
That's right. Still here, still working hard.
Still working hard. I also am excited because I've got a few guests joining us lined up, and hopefully by the time this is released, I'll be back in action and sending the episodes out to the universe on a weekly basis, starting with this episode. This
Yeah.
episode is so important, Aaron. Do you want to drum roll it, or how do we want to like hype it up? Let's just put it out there. Let's just put it out there. So, Men of Yoga, been around since 2021. Back in the day, we decided that we're going to open up this platform to basically get all the men of yoga to connect, network, be all in the same space. And I'm going to take 100% credit for Men of Yoga. I think that being the only one out there that's like of a community, like we actually do interact with every single person that is featured on there, every single video reel that we repost, we are connected with these guys. And that's one thing that like melts my heart, because to this day I had no idea like what we were doing, and here we are, we're still connected and we're still putting yoga out there together.
Absolutely. It's been really amazing to connect with yogis and men from all across the planet
Mhm.
and, creating a global community. Me and you have been, in our own little world, in our own little yoga studio for the last 15 years. And to be able to have a perspective that, acts locally but thinks globally
Mhm.
is really important, for us in this moment.
Yeah, yeah. So what's new, what's exciting, what's on the horizon? Men of Yoga, this year we're going to make some changes.
Yeah, changes for the better. You've
Changes
already
for the better.
started to see, we're migrating and offering more online work and sending out classes into the universe and gathering people like we always do. And this year we've decided that we want to up the stakes a little and create more of an impact with the platform that we've been given and sending out a message into the universe, for peace, love, harmony,
Mhm.
growth, elevation, all of these beautiful, buzzwords.
Yep. Yep. So without further ado, folks, we are going on a mission with this platform. So effective immediately, by the time that you're watching and hearing this, we are converting and transforming Men of Yoga from a social platform to a social impact platform. And our mission is to redefine macho. We are just redefining macho. I personally believe that it is time for us to step forward and use this opportunity to get more men on the mat. Um, just because the climate that's changed over the last couple of months, and I'm witnessing a lot of anger and a lot of violence out there. And I'll be honest, I can't help but wonder, like, what is going on with these people's lives that it is so chaotic? Like, why is there so much like attacking other people and like politics? It's just gotten to a point where it's so uncomfortable and cringy. And so here we are, Aaron, with we're connected with a lot of people, and I'm thinking to myself, if we could kind of work together, at this global level, is it possible for us to get more men on the mat so that they could find a little bit more peace, a little bit more calm, to kind of balance the chaos that people might be going through. I just remember,
Absolutely.
yeah, I remember myself as a child. I was pretty chaotic. I was raised Catholic, and so at some level I was rebelling against the rules and going to all boys school, and it just didn't resonate with me that this is the way you play the game, and you don't ask questions, and you pray and everything will go away, and you ask for forgiveness and you can sin. You know what I mean? It was so binary, your choices. You're either good or you're evil, you know? And if there's anything that we learn and teach with yoga, there's a balance. Like both of those things can coexist. The space where we practice yoga is to find out like what it is that we're going to feed more of, right? And so I think it is time for Men of Yoga as a platform to step up and go on a mission and see who we reach out to and share this knowledge with, you know?
Absolutely. We've been over the past few years connecting to different people's stories through our podcast and through the people that we feature, trying to, give awareness to, people that are in the work, that are putting out time and energy in order to lift and to heal others, and, taking that responsibility to another level. Finding, the more I study yoga, the more I become more of a non-dualist, in the sense of not assigning things a positive or negative value. We're not here to, yuck on anyone's yum and tell them what they should or should not be thinking or doing. We're here to, bring an accountability for the energy that you're sending out into the universe. And not only for the energy that you're sending out outwardly, but also the energy that you're dealing with in the internal space.
Yeah.
So how do we, find kinder, softer, more thoughtful choices, so that is has an awareness around, how that affects others. That's really at the key component of what yoga is. The yamas and the niyamas outline how our energy is affecting the internal space and how the energy affects others. And it's outlined very clearly. Most of yoga really has nothing to do with a physical practice. It's really a mindfulness um, discipline that monitors your internal space, and that awareness that comes from going inward and seeking guidance from yourself. We believe as yogis that the answers reside inside you.
Yeah.
Your answers are in there. And it's just a matter of turning your attention towards that sacred space that resides inside you,
Yeah.
so that you can hear the voice of your inner guide.
Yeah.
And sometimes the message is really loud. Sometimes the message is very soft, and so finding quiet, finding stillness, seeking guidance, and finding practices that really elevate, the responsibility that you have as a being of light and energy.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Amen, sister.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, we can preach a little philosophy when we want to.
Well, absolutely. the inspiration also comes from, we have our cousins, Yoga Assets, and their mission is to take yoga where it isn't. I really, really, really love and value the kind of work that they put out there because they're in prison system and they are teaching yoga and offering teacher training and certifying these incarcerated individuals. And when they get certified, they too can take that opportunity to train and certify others within the system, which is amazing. And at least when they are released out into society, they have something to fall back on. You know what I mean? Like they can say, "Hey, I'm a certified yoga teacher. I have something to offer." Um, and one of the things that you and I talked about is like, man, if there's a way we can reach out to these individuals before it gets that far, before they enter the prison system, you know what I mean?
before
And
they're incarcerated. Yeah.
before they're incarcerated, you know what I'm saying? And before they storm the Capitol, whatever it is that's like so drastic and so dramatic and so remarkably like, I don't know, disturbing. Like it doesn't have to go that far. It doesn't have to get that bad, you know? And we realize, I just noticed in the background, like the Darth Vaders of the world are there, but so are the Buddhas.
Right.
Right. And there's this huge space between like good and evil or whatnot. But, like I was saying earlier, it's like going and finding that sweet space right in between, and understanding that balance. Like, not all things every day is going to be awesome. Not all things are going to be, horrible. You know, if we
Well, there's
can,
no need to assign them a positive or negative value.
yeah, but that's how.
Simply is.
Yeah, as we react, the normal way to react is like, oh my God, there's a reaction, there's a constant, because people don't usually have a practice of kind of like paying attention to see how things unfold without getting involved emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
people think that happiness is the goal, and it's really not. It's integration. We're receiving all of these signals, and in the physical body, it's easy. Ow, that hurts.
yeah,
Turn our attention towards those sensations, and we use the tools at our disposal in order to relieve suffering. The mind is the same way. It's that the signals that you're receiving are emotions and mind chatter, and where the thought process goes. The brain has its own function away from the spirit and the soul that it's there to survive. It's there to, make sure that you're okay and to make sense of the chaos. And, it's not necessarily in alignment with your values. It's just trying to make sense of chaos. And, it's sending you signals through the emotions and through the chatter of the mind so that you can uh, understand what it is that those signals mean. Each of the emotions have a purpose and a point, a biological function. And, anger lets us know where our boundaries are at
hmm
and when they've been crossed, and sadness is a cry for help, and all of these different signals that the different primary emotions give us allow us the opportunity to make choices that are in our best interest rather than being swept away by them and being reactive and kind of popping off when things don't go the way that we want them to, or we choose to focus on the things that we like and the things that we don't like. All of these signals are happening in this one moment. It's where you choose to put your attention. And
right.
that's where the focus of the mind and mindfulness practices and meditation come into play
Yeah,
so that you can teach yourself to focus on the things that are going to have the greatest impact for you.
wonderful. One of the things I want to touch base on too is like when I say redefining macho, it reminds me of like what it was like to uh, grow up as a skinny little Asian in the closet homosexual. You know what I mean? It's
In the closet?
in the closet. Well, I
Are
mean,
you ever in the closet?
I'm always in the closet.
No, you're code switching. That's different.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, I think about like why is this so important to me personally? I think there's a lot of people out there that still could use a little bit of guidance in terms of what it, how do you define being a man at this point? There's so many different kinds of messaging out there. And I go back to the binary. It's like you're either muscular and you're super alpha or you're less than and for me it's like even yoga is a part of that. Like we are always showing our best images and our content out there, because we're all trying to get clicks, we're all trying to get attention, which is fantastic. Any way you want to put your yoga out there, I think, is just amazing. We need all the help we get to put yoga out there. And with that said, for me, I make this a personal mission to use this platform because there's a lot of kids out there who may not know that what else yoga offers, and like you talked about, like mindfulness space. And I want to touch on this because as a content creator myself, for instance, when I get a new app, I go and look for tools and I look for editing and I look for color. Like you can go in there and get really super lost. But once you kind of know where things are at, you can kind of just reference and reflect and click a button to find what you need. The same goes with yoga. Yoga is not this brushstroke of like, oh, when you go to yoga, you're gonna find your samadhi, you're gonna find your bliss, your nirvana. It could be that. And it
Yeah.
also could be just a tool that you reference at single, in your daily life, whether it's something that you need something to chill, if you, whatever. And my point,
Regulate your nervous system,
yeah, yeah,
calm yourself. Yeah.
yeah. My whole point is
De-stress.
that yoga has so many unique things that it offers to every individual in your daily life that it's a lifetime. That's why they call it a practice. It's not a transformation for transformation's sake. It is just a way for you to like tap into something that you didn't know existed quite yet, because you don't get to see yoga advertised on a daily basis. You don't, you hear religion out there, you hear religion being used against certain communities of wrongdoing, whatnot, but there's never ever this image of like, why do people practice yoga? And the image that people think about of yoga is like, oh, they're stretching on a mat. So I think this is a great time for us to really take those learning messages that we've received as men ourselves and to say like, man, I never looked at myself as much. I never thought I belong in that group, you know. And when I started practicing yoga, I could care less about those groups because I'd realized that at some performative level as a man, there was stuff that I could show up and make me feel like confident and I've shit I've proven to myself. And that's really like why I think there's an opportunity for us to say, all right, we've at the studio for 15 years. We've been practicing for 20 years. You know, I, as a teacher, been teaching for 19 years. Like, I think there's a wealth of information there to start sharing with other people that could really use it, especially in the time that we're in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially these last few years, all of the things that we've gone through. And, I always say yoga is a gift you give your future self. And, me and you are living our future selves in this moment. It's been
Uh-huh.
20 years. We were in our 30s when we started this process, and now we're in our 50s
Yeah.
and kind of spreading and gospelizing the practice. And, we're becoming the elder statesmen of the practice. And, yoga is an oral tradition that's been passed down generationally from person to person. And these teachers and great teachers are becoming more scarce. The corporatization of yoga has watered down the medicine that yoga is over, as it's been standardized and become repeatable. And, it's up to us to pass on that message, that yoga is, you know, something that means something to you,
Yeah.
and your viewpoint and your perspective is based on your experiences and the teachers that have come into your life. this karmic experience where you have been chosen to learn these lessons in this lifetime, and how far you elevate and how far you advance in your exploration of the practice, is really an exploration of the internal space. And as you get to know yourself at a deeper level and understand, what you need in order to migrate closer to your most balanced self, it allows you, a collection of practices that you share with other people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the platform, and if it's in person or if it's online, or, what it is that you're putting out there into the universe. I mean, we know a ton of yoga teachers, and, there are in varying degrees of, self-care and interest, and, the work that they're doing, it varies, depending on what their personal experience has been. And hopefully, we'll be able to empower people to go on that journey inward and see what it is that they need so that they can really understand their ministry and how they're going to share the practice with others.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I wanted to also touch on is the idea of learning a little bit more about yourself, right? And so yoga is very individualistic. It meets you at your own unique needs. And it's also a progression. So if you choose to quote unquote do more advanced things with yoga, and it could be something physical, it could be like advanced postures or higher learning. Like if you want to get deep into the sutras, the Yoga Sutras, or if you want to like really embellish in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, excuse me, there's tons more information. There's much more history. If you want to get into Ayurvedic practices and neti potting, it just the rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And for me, I want to remind people like there's lots of groups, there's lots of organizations, there's a lot of brotherhood work out there. I just posted something on social media today, like, hey, before you go find your tribe, go find your truth. Like, go do some self-study. Like, what makes you tick? What pisses you off? What is it that brings fire and joy to yourself so that when you know what those things are, you can show up a little bit more fuller and then offer that up to the party, to the tribe, so that you have a seat at the table and you're not losing yourself in the crowd, or you're not owning what that crowd has to offer and say, oh, I now make a difference because I'm in the in crowd or I'm with the cool guys. So this movement is really less about coming together and having a kumbaya moment. It's coming together to like let people know who aren't usually exposed to yoga. Maybe they don't have yoga studios in their cities or in their towns, or it's just something that they never looked at as part of uh, a journey, perhaps, you know. And so that's where this is all about: helping people find their truth, helping balance the universe in some kind of way so that we turn the temperature down, and hopefully evolve into better, stronger, well-connected men.
Absolutely. So what does that mean for 2025?
So
How are
2020,
we going to execute this vision?
yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Well, first, I'm going to lean on my brothers out there. I am going to ask um, as many of the yogis that we're connected with to help us spread the message of what it means to redefine macho for them. Because I've spoken with a handful of our friends, and they're all pretty much in agreement. When you say that word macho, you were mentioning like I don't know about that word macho, like what that means. Macho is machismo, and in some Latin, a lot of Latin cultures, that is such an important thing of being a man. And
Well, not necessarily a compliment, right?
it's not a compliment. However, it is something that's associated with masculinity in a sense, especially, I don't know if it's just generational, but it's still something that men strive in this, in this day and age, that it is important to own their masculinity, to be the leader, to be alpha-ish or whatever. And for me as a yogi, I never looked at it in terms of becoming macho. So I'm like, my ask with this project is that we add this practice to what it means to be macho, to have more awareness, to have a little bit more mental clarity, to have a little bit more
Emotional
mindful,
intelligence.
yes, emotional intelligence, mindfulness.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to just chill the fuck out. So,
CTFD.
CTFD. Where's that t-shirt? Hashtag.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Om. You say calm or om?
Yeah. I mean this society that uses sensational headlines in order to grab attention and to, use fear and sadness in order to drive revenue and sell people things. And, it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
And, it's not, I have to take breaks from watching the news
Mhm.
just because it's too overwhelming and I want a more balanced and more regulated society, that in all of my yoga classes, I am talking about balance and looking inward and using inquiry, to come to a deeper understanding of what is showing up in this present moment so that you can make choices that are in your best interest, you know, of how you want to be on brand with your values. What are your values? Do you understand what your guiding lights are? And especially in a society, that's grown up with so much religion and very black or white kind of theology, of right and wrong. And, life is a lot of gray territory. There's
Right.
a lot of nuance in the experience and, understanding what your values are, what you believe to be, your spiritual practices and how that resonates through your choices and making sure that your words and your actions are matching so that you're not, in some sort of incongruence that bringing yourself into symmetry and flowing through life easily. I think of Michael Singer and floating downstream through life rather than trying to swim up it.
Yeah. Right.
It's there's an easier way. It doesn't have to be feast or famine.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be a fight.
Right.
We feel like, as men, it's our responsibility to fight for injustice and fight for truth in the American way and, you know, all of these concepts. But, it's all made up.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
all, it's all, been passed down and taught to us. And, there were some really unhealthy choices in the previous generations, and you see life trying to compensate and in a lot of cases overcompensate
Right.
because they haven't found the right balance yet. And especially, in our queer communities, in our BIPOC communities,
Yeah.
trying to find the balance and equality and, truth and justice for all
Yeah.
as we're going through this process. And, I think there's been a lot of injustices committed on behalf of the male machismo, attitude. And, part of redefining that message is really, softening a little bit. And that doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. That doesn't mean that you don't, hold respect for yourself and protect your family or, whatever it is that's important to you.
Hmm.
It means that, there's a way to communicate those things so that we don't tear people down in the process.
Right. We have a lot of work ahead of us, sir.
I think so. I think now is the time.
Hmm.
We're coming off of, we both almost lost our lives in the last few years. And, we've been given this second opportunity to make a difference and to continue in the work that we've put in play in this lifetime. And I hope that, having a clearer vision for where we see this going and why we're doing what we're doing, that we don't lose sight of having a good time and enjoying ourselves as we go through the process, but the process can be enjoyable. It
Mm.
can be a lot of fun. There can be connection. We are social creatures. We were meant to be in community, and that community needs to expand beyond work, school, and family. It
Yeah,
needs to expand to other communities, so that other ideas will be able to saturate your mind space so that you can have a clear vision for yourself of what resonates and makes you feel like the most powerful version of yourself.
right. Wow. So, gentlemen, please
Or engines.
why not start your engines? Please, please, please help us spread the word and help us with this work. It's not going to be easy, and it can't be done with just you and I. But
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
yeah, I'm
What do you
confident.
think?
Yeah,
What,
I'm confident that we're going to get a lot of support in this, and like yeah, I'm grateful for everyone who's stepped up to this, up to this moment and helping build our community. And I look forward to, yeah, kicking off this mission today. So,
we
Aaron,
have
thank you for,
some we have some really beautiful practices coming for you and some amazing opportunities to connect not only with us but with each other. We hope that you will um, be open. That's all we ask. Be open, listen, and see how that resonates with what your truth is.
well said, sir. I love you, Aaron. Thank you for spending time with me on this.
I love spending time with you, William.
Until then, gents, we'll see you soon.
Adios.
Take care.
All right, dude, that's all for this episode. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please remember to subscribe. And if you want to plug into the Men of Yoga community even more deeply, you can follow us on Instagram and or Facebook. Links are in the description. And also leave us some comments. Let us know what you liked about the episode, as well as what other juicy topics you'd like for us to open up and explore, because it all gets to be here. All right. So go have a great day on and off the mat, and hopefully we'll see you next time.